Alright, it's the morning of day 2. Last night was a pretty decent night, better than the last Bugout I did. Unfortunately, I had a bunch of coyotes going last night, and they were having a fun time. I'm not sure exactly where they were. I heard quite a few further down the valley over here, following the stream further down. And I think the sheep herder's dogs were, one of the dogs was yelling back at him. It was pretty cool, because it just sounded like it was coming from right over here, not very far away. So the Penny here did great. She kept waking up and checking stuff out. She barked at things every once in a while. And not having a fire was kind of nice. I didn't have to get out of my sleeping bag, so I could just stay in there and relax and go to sleep. The ground was pretty good. I'm glad I covered this so I could protect my sleeping mat. I think the mat is just fine. I don't think it got punctured or anything. Penny here is very excited by my food, but not excited by her food, unfortunately. I've got my, I left my water bottle in the creek overnight to cool it down and make sure it was nice and cold, so it feels really nice and cold right now. So that'll be really nice to have some cold water in the morning. I've got some granola with milk and blueberries, and I don't think this takes, yeah, it's got cold water. Half cup of cold water. No. I couldn't quite finish my meal yesterday, so I did a little bit of training with her, with some of the extra chicken I had. She liked that. She has the attention span of a squirrel, and she gave up on stuff pretty quickly. Would just run off for no reason. Even though there was meat on the table, she's, nope, wanted to run. Nope. There we go. Nice. This water's actually pretty clear. I can see all the way to the bottom of it. Just a tiny bit foggy in there. That's nice. Don't have it too crazy. I'm gonna mix that up. Then I'll add some more water. Ah, that's so cold. That's nice. I had some crazy freaking dreams last night with the coyotes howling and stuff like that. I had one of those dreams where I couldn't move. My body was frozen, but I was kind of awake. That was pretty frustrating. But I was only like partially awake for the whole thing. But got some gunk on here. So plans for today. My brother's going to be coming out in the afternoon. So I think I'm going to work on the shelter a bit. I might do some scouting around, just look around, see the area. And so far I think that's really the only two things that I'm going to do. I might get a fire going again to do some more water. I don't think that I have enough water for today. So I'm going to need to make sure I clear it all out. And I'm sorry, I need to make sure I get as much water in as I can. But I'm going to go ahead and get started on breakfast here. And pull you guys back in once I'm done eating. Alright, so this morning, I'm going to get going on a fire. I think what I'm going to try is a feather stick and a lighter. Haven't done a feather stick in a long time, and I'm not sure if this is the best wood for it. No, this is just more of the Aspen here, but it's not very wet. It's feathering, but it's very brittle, so I think if I go even a tiny bit too far, it's really going to break. That's working pretty good. I think if I can get a stack of this and then split some of this up into kindling, I think I can get my fire going with a lighter. Yeah, I really haven't practiced feather sticks too much. That's why I thought this was a good idea this morning. Practice some feather sticks. That's crazy looking. Let me show you guys a close up. Yeah, you can just see like how it's just peeling apart. It's not really curling super well. But hey, what I got. Alright, I think with these two, that should be enough to get the fire going. Now I'm gonna split some of this stuff. Let me go grab my maul real quick. This maul's definitely been one of the most useful tools for doing this. Bushcraft stuff. With a nice strong knife, you can get some really fine kindling going. And I've got some stuff shredded on the ground here from yesterday. Might be able to use some of that too. Yeah, I really wish I had a nice stump to work all this stuff on, but I mean, this would be pretty good for its diameter, but my bow saw isn't big enough to go through this. It would be nice to have a hatchet to do something like that, but a hatchet would take forever, and then it wouldn't be straight. And I really think the only way to get a really good anvil like that would be like a 36-inch bow saw or something enormous. And I might look into something like that. I do have a really nice Husqvarna chainsaw, and I've used that quite a bit. Just around the house. Well, not in the house. Around the house. Taking care of trees and stuff like that, and it works great. Lent it to some neighbors who were struggling to take down a tree. They had this tiny little, it's pretty funny, they had this tiny little saw about this long that was up on a stick, right? So they could kind of saw at it, and up at the branches in the tree. And my wife and I were walking by going to church, and I'm like, do you want a chainsaw? And the guy's like, nah, nah. And his wife looks at him, and she's like, yeah. He's like, all right, all right. That's pretty funny. The guy's like, no, 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 I got this. And the wife's like, let's take a chainsaw. I like it. All right, got my feather sticks here. Got my really fine, well, fairly fine kindling here. I think that should be enough to get going. Let's try this out. I think I'll start with just one. You know what? Let me make a little bit of a fire lay with this old stuff from yesterday. I'll put some of this fine stuff on in a sec. Let's start with this. Okay. I'm not sure if that's enough of a feather stick. I'm going to go ahead and toss the other one on, because I'm not certain. Glad I made two. Okay, that one's going now as well. That was a bit better than the other one. Just kind of make a little teepee here. It's kind of hard not to smother this stuff though. It's looking pretty good though. I think it's going to work. There we go. First fire of the day. Feather stick and a lighter. Yeah, if I had some nice fat wood, I could probably get it going with a ferro rod, but I don't think I could have started that with a ferro rod without a lot of scraping and a lot of luck to get it to land in just the right spot. That's alright. I only had the lighter on for, what, 4 or 5 seconds. Alright, got my bottle in the fire. Got the cup sitting on it. Alright, so I've taken a bit of time this morning while boiling that water to clean up the handle of my maul a bit, get a little bit flatter, smoother, and clean up the front of it. The front of it was chipping pretty bad, and so I kind of tried to flatten it out a little bit, and then I wanted to try out some fire hardening. So I heated it up really hot, just right next to the fire, so I could barely touch it, but I've never done fire hardening before, so I may have to put it on for a longer period of time But I cleaned up the face of it a little bit and made the handle a little bit more correctly to the size of my hand. It was a little bit too large before, but should be nice to have a little bit cleaner tool to work with. So as I was working on improving my shelter, I stumbled on this old, dead, looks like it's from last year, no, pithy plant. So it's actually the plant I've been using to do my, did my bedding with, and a lot of my rainproofing on top of my shelter, which is about maybe halfway done. It's not the best right now, but trying to deal with the materials I got. Anyways, the inside of these plants is very pithy, but since it's all wet, it doesn't really work super good. But this one, let me show you guys inside of this. It's pretty hollow, but very lightweight. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna make some char cloth stuff out of it, but gotta make sure to remove my couple of things out of my Altoids tin here. So in the Altoids tin, it's kind of my backup fire kit. I've got some steel wool, a very small ferro rod that's unused, and 2 Fresnel lenses, which are magnifying lenses that are actually totally flat. So I've already got some char cloth in here, but cooking it a bit more really shouldn't make much of a difference to it. It's kind of hard to get this Fresnel lens out of the bottom here. There we go. Having pliers is one of the best things to have in a kit. I've been looking at switching my Leatherman out for something a bit lighter, but I want to make sure I have an all scissors, pliers, and maybe a backup knife on it. So kind of those 4 things, but it's pretty hard to find that in a little package. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I've just got my Altoids tin here emptied, except for the existing char cloth. I'm going to bust this up. You know what? It breaks too much. I'm going to slice it up, actually. Yeah. Kind of want it in smaller pieces because I don't think I'm going to need a huge piece to start up a fire. So I'm getting it about inch and a half sized. So I think what I'm going to aim for. Then I can chuck it in the fire, and it will cook this really thoroughly and making it so that it's charred, which starts really easily. When you saw how easy it started with that magnifying glass. You know what, it'd be fun today to try out those Fresnel lenses, see how well they work. I bet it's going to work even better than that magnifying glass on the compass because there's such a larger surface area. So the bigger magnifying glass you've got, the more sunlight you can aim into that pinpoint and really make that big amount of heat in that tiny little area and really get it going. So I got quite a bit in here, and I probably will end up chucking some of it after but I'll play around with it today, and I probably won't keep all of it in here. But we'll see how well this stuff works. I do know that you can just use just a thin, dry stick if you really wanted to. You can just take random debris that's dry and turn it into this. I wonder how fat wood would turn into char. That'd be interesting if the oils could stay inside of it. You know what, I think that's plenty full for now. So let me show you guys a close-up of this. So another nice thing about char is that if you have substandard materials like a substandard striker like a flint and steel instead of a ferro rod and a scraping tool like a knife, you can this will take even a very low temperature spark like what would come from a flint and steel. So the ferro rod I think burns at like 1500 degrees or something, and a spark is like 900 or something, or a flint spark is like 900, something like that. But it's a big difference to use a ferro rod, which is a modern tool that's created. I've got several backups and stuff that I've got stored back because they're so useful. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and throw this on the fire. Let's char it. So right there, it should be within enough heat to really bake it. And I'm not sure how long this will take. This will probably take 20 minutes, something like that. And that hole in the top of the Altoids tin is still exposed, so I can see the fumes coming out. Once those fumes start coming out, that means it's working. And once it stops, that means it's done. And then you take it out carefully because it's really hot, and then you leave it to the side. You don't open it because of how it's still hot enough to combust spontaneously, so you want to make sure that you... No, Penny, no. You want to make sure that you let it cool down before opening it again. Right, I'm not sure how well this shows up on camera, but I want to show you guys this cool little shot here of all these butterflies flying around. I can see about 30 or 40 of them, but off in the distance I can see a lot more. So all over the place, there's just tons of butterflies. Penny's off down there. Let me zoom in and show you some of them. So these are some tops to these thistles. These are actually apparently edible. I've never eaten them before. But they've got these vibrant purple, violet tops to them. Those are the flowers, and they're spiky all over the place, so you gotta cut them down low and scrape all the spikes off, so I've never bothered with that. But there's just all these butterflies flying all over the place. It's really pretty. Alright, so I took a nap, let this cook in the fire for about an hour, and my water cooled down. Out of the way, dog! I can touch my Altoids tin now. It's only been out of the fire for a few minutes. I'm going to pull it open, let's check it out. I'm not sure if it worked. Huh. Seems like a few of them worked. Let me show you guys a little close-up of this. So, dang it, dog. Alright. So there's quite a few. Oh, just dropped one on the ground. They're quite light, but there's some that are still kind of whitish. I'm betting those ones won't work so good. But I'm going to pull some of these out, and let's try out the Fresnel lens on these guys. Alright, so there's one of the ones that doesn't look like it works so good. I want to see what it's like. I've never used this Fresnel lens before. Basically, here's what it is. It's like a little magnifying glass, but it's actually flat and flexible. They're pretty cool. You can put one in your wallet. I keep one in my wallet all the time as part of my everyday carry. I'm betting this is going to light it up real quick. Ooh. Okay, that was working. It really doesn't show up well, so I think when you're fiddling with a magnifying lens and some char cloth and some char like this, dang it, dog, don't burn your hair. You'll light yourself on fire. You have to really check it out and probably blow on it gently. Really gently. I mean, you see how easily I blew that off, so blow on it gently just to check out if it's working or not. But that char seems to have worked well, so you just take that, put it in a bird's nest with some dry material, and you can start up a fire much quicker. And then, so you only need a couple of pieces, these two pieces, to make a sustainable fire that'll last you years and years, so long as you don't lose either of the pieces or they don't get damaged.